There are two more things I want to do before we finish this tutorial. First of all, create a saved version of the detailed geometry. And this might take some time, but I'll show you real quick what I would do. So I'm going to go back to the RBD material fracture node. I will copy this output geometry node. And I will name this building fracture high res version 1. Now I will turn on the manual update and turn on the edge detail for the RBD material fracture node. And now I will save this version with this new name to later use it with our rendering. So I will pause the video and we'll come back when that version is ready. It took a few minutes to generate the detailed version, but here we have it now. I will lay down another file node. This time I will channel reference the output file name of this second node and paste it as a relative reference to this second file node. So let's take a look at the exploded view. And here we have the high resolution geometry. And I think it's looking fine. One last thing I want to do is to quickly create an RBD test to have an idea of how the demolition will look like. So I will use a low resolution version for that. I will add a null object. And I will call it out. I will also change its color to black. And I will actually change the name to out fractured building. So let's quickly jump out of the geometry node. And with the node selected, let's go into the rigid bodies tab and control click on the RBD fractured object. Make sure to click on the RBD packed object. I will also go to the collisions tab and control click on the ground plane. We could also look through the actual camera that we're going to use for rendering. And let's press play. So again, this may take some time. I may pause the video in a while, but it's good to create this kind of tests before committing to a final geometry. And although we would still have to create constraints and some other conditions, by creating early tests, we will have a very good idea of what to expect. Okay, so we have a few simulated frames now. And as we expected, where we had smaller pieces, there is a faster breaking. So notice how where we have larger pieces, the structure is holding up much more. Of course, a final simulation would need much more work, but this is giving us a very good idea of how the collapsing would look like. So this pretty much covers what I wanted to teach you in this first tutorial. Of course, we have plenty of more tutorials ahead of us. And as mentioned before, I would like to continue working on this shot till we have a very nice and finished product. So hopefully you will keep practicing what you learned. I would suggest to continue breaking up the building and trying to control where the fractures are. And of course, to keep practicing with these new techniques and see how far you can take them. It has been a pleasure for me creating this tutorial for you, and I hope to see you soon in future total destruction tutorials.